tasks today. So tasks are the objects that we have available in Workflow Manager. As we have seen transformations in Designer that helped us perform data transformations in the mappings. Tasks are the ones that helps us configure workflows, right? So far, we've been using only one task, that is session task. And while we were discussing about parameterization, we have seen one more task, that was assignment task. So the purpose of assignment task was to assign variables or to assign values to workflow variables. So now let's talk about the rest of the tasks available. So total 9 tasks are there, and in these 9, 3 are reusable tasks and 6 are non-reusable tasks. Okay, 3 are reusable tasks and 6 are non-reusable tasks. So in these 9 tasks, the 3 reusable tasks are session task, email task, and command task. And the 6 non-reusable tasks are assignment task, timer task, control task, decision task, event wait, and event trace. Okay, so total 9 tasks that are available in the Workflow Manager level. So far we have been working only with session tasks. The purpose of session task is to associate mappings with workflows, right? For the purpose of execution. In order to execute our mapping, we need to associate our mapping with workflow, and to do that, session task was the one we have been using that. Next, email task. The purpose of email task is to send email alerts from within Informatica workflow. Say for example, you would like to send an email alert to all the stakeholders, maybe like support team and business owners and all, saying that a particular load has been completed on a particular day. Okay, your job is scheduled to run on daily basis. Every day after completion of the workflow run, you wanted to send out an alert to your teams. So in order to do that, the email task will be able to help us. And for this email task to work, we need an SMTP server configured separately, and that SMTP server credentials and the configuration will be setting it up on the Informatica server level. So once that is set up, we will be able to use email task, right? So as of now, as we are working now locally, we don't have any additional SMTP server and all. So I will not be able to demonstrate like delivering a mail and all, but I'll just show you what are all the options available in this task, what are the things that we need to configure and so on. So basically the purpose of email task is to send email alerts from within Informatica workflows. And for this to be able to work, SMTP server is required, and the SMTP server details have to be configured on Informatica server. And once that is done, on our client components, when we use email task, we just need to provide the details like recipient address, body, subject, basic email, how you write and all. Okay. Now, this email task can be used in 2 ways. One, either as a standalone object you can use, otherwise within session properties also you can configure this, right? Let me show you how to configure and what is the difference between standalone usage and within session properties. So I'm in Workflow Manager. Okay, so for example, in this particular workflow, after these two tasks are completed successfully, I'd like to send an email alert. So for that, we can create an email task.
Question.
Yeah.
Hi, I didn't join at the beginning because I had problems with my link, and I've lost what the actual aims and objectives is of doing what we're doing on the screen.
Yeah, Philip, we just started actually. We are going to talk about tasks. Tasks are the objects that we have available in the workflow manager level. So in workflow manager, so far what we have been doing, in order to create a session task, we are going to this particular option, and in this wizard, you are seeing these many tasks available. So in this session, we are now going to talk about all these different tasks that are available in workflow manager. Okay, so in those tasks, we have total of 9 tasks available: session, email, command, assignment, timer, control, decision, event, wait, and raise. So these are the total 9 tasks we have in a workflow manager level. In these 9 tasks, we have been already working with session tasks, which we've been using every time when we wanted to associate our mapping with workflow. And then now we are going to talk about the second task, that is email task. So we just talked about what are the purposes of email task. In order to send an email alert as part of your workflow, we can use email task. Okay, so that's what now we're going to see how to configure it and all.
Okay.
Okay, clear now?
Yeah.
Right, so now we are in the workflow manager. I just have one of the workflow open here. Now, let's say my requirement is here. In this workflow, after these 2 tasks are completed, session means running a mapping, this is an assignment variable. If I want to send an email alert after the successful completion of this workflow, what I can do is I can create an email task. So go to tasks menu, create. So from the list of tasks available, use email. Just give any name, and once the email task is created, you can just link this one wherever you want to place it. Say for example, I'd like to place it after the successful completion of these 2 tasks. So I placed it here. Now if you open this email task, go to properties, you just need to provide the recipient mail address. Username is the recipient mail addresses, subject, and the body of your email, what you would like to send and all. So as simple as that. From a developer point of view, you don't need to do anything at all. But for this to work, as I mentioned, on the Informatica server level, SMTP server need to be integrated. So at the infrastructure level, SMTP server needs to be configured and set up, and that configuration needs to be provided on the Informatica server level for this particular task to be work. Now this particular usage, right, that means creating the email task and placing it wherever you want in your workflow. This is a standalone email task. You can place it anywhere in your workflow. Another way is you can also configure email task for a particular session dependent activity. Okay, that means, say for example, without even creating an additional email task, if I'd like to send an email based on a particular session status, say for example, if I'd like to send an email based on this particular session status, if the session is succeeded, then even without creating an additional email task, if you go into the properties of this session, right, open the session, go to the components. Here you will see an option called on success email, on failure email. That means you can choose to configure an email alert if you would like to send an email when it is succeeded, or if you would like to send an email if you would like to when it is failed, right? Say for example, if I would like to send an email when it is succeeded, so I'll choose the option here accordingly, and in the value, if you open, you will see the same details that are required to be provided, right? Email username, that means recipient mail addresses, subject and the body, right? So this one here, which is integrated within the session properties, this is sent depending on your status, this particular session status. Else, if you would like to send an email as part of your workflow somewhere, right, then you can use a standalone email task. So these are the two ways that you can use an email task depending on the requirement. So email task can be configured either as a standalone email task or within session properties. And for this to work, like I mentioned, we need an SMTP service created and configured that needs to be integrated